Hello, everyone. Jenny here from the Proven Group, and I am here with the amazing Frederick Marcoux from BNI. Frederick, you're the franchisor for BNI Australia, and thrilled to be here with you. Obviously, I've had a lot of experience with your wonderful group, and I'm a big supporter of the incredible work that you do at BNI. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about you and BNI, and then we can go from there?
Sure. So I've been a franchisor for 15 years. I started in this business loving what BNI does in the business community, genuinely helping people in business collaborate. And so that's and for the last 15 years, BNI has transformed itself a number of different times. And yeah, I'm still here today. I have 30 franchisees right around the country. And we have 6,000 customers, and we're just coming out of this pandemic stronger and more resilient, and yeah, better than ever before. We've conquered the tyranny of distance. I'm speaking to my franchisees every fortnight. It's just amazing. We're seeing each other. We're collaborating, and I'm so excited for this post-pandemic world.
Love it, because it is a different world out there, and we do need to think differently and engage differently. And I'm sure we're going to discuss that over this interview. Frederick, I'd love to ask you, what has inspired you in your career to be the you are today?
Well, thank you for asking. When I bought BNI, I was a corporate finance, kind of, consultant and all that, and I didn't know a lot about franchising, and so I was given this book, okay? So I was given this book, okay? And it's annotated everywhere in this book. And so is Greg Nathan's Profitable Partnerships book. So if you are a franchisor or you're a franchisee, you need to read this book, okay? Because this is the Bible of franchising. And believe me, you will be a lot more successful once you understand and you have, I read this all the time. And in preparation for this interview, I actually went back to this book. So I have to thank you, Jenny, because I have to keep opening this book, as much as possible, because it's pure gold.
And I think if I asked many people working in the franchise sector about their franchising inspirations, I think can honestly say that Greg's name would come up many, many times. He's had a
Absolutely.
huge
I'm like a
impact.
groupie, when he's around, it's like, oh, can I take a photo with Greg,
I love it. Look, I love Greg's work, and I love it because he focuses on this really, really important relationship, that relationship between franchisor and franchisee. And, business and franchising is all about relationships. So, I think for me, he's hit the nail on the head, and it's really about learning and improving and seeing how we can support better. So,
And it's
yeah.
based on data, he doesn't come up with opinions. He says, okay, this is what the data says, and that is very powerful.
So true. So true. Any other inspirations?
Well, yeah, there's a lot, but this is by far, well, my lawyer inspires me a lot because she helps me do the right thing. I'm constantly talking to my franchising lawyer, and a lawyer that specializes in franchising, because in franchising you have to enforce accountability, and you have to do it nicely, and you have to do it legally. You have to be reasonable and all that. So I get a lot of inspiration on what to do and how to do it well, believe it or not, from my lawyer. So there.
Yeah, important relationship in franchising, no doubt,
Yeah.
no doubt. Okay, now got some really juicy questions for you, Frederick. Um,
Yes.
we're living in a changing time, and we've discussed this already a little bit. What do you think the most important leadership skills are? Well, what are the skills that leaders need to take us into the future in this ever-changing environment?
Well, okay, so it's funny you should use those words because dealing with change, I think would be the number one skill, and I want to talk about that. And it's also understanding, business empathy. Okay, so as a franchisor, right? As a franchisor, you need to have strong business empathy, and you have to have strong values and around that. So let's talk about that. Okay, so so in terms of dealing with change, communication, communication skills, are critical. Okay, because you can have the best system, and if it's poorly implemented, it will not succeed. Okay, and so what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? That it's about engaging with people and getting buy-in, and this is what I have to do day in, day out. I'm always scheming on how to get people to buy into things, right? Because my opinion doesn't matter. So when as a franchisor, right, you have power over the franchisees, right? And so that is appreciating that this is a tense relationship because of the very fact of the contracts. So then you need to be really clever about how you engage with your people so that they feel that you really genuinely understand what they're going through, and you get their input on everything, right? Because if you don't, it doesn't matter what you think. You think if you know the answer, that's fine. But if you just tell them the answer, well, that's not going to help anyone, right? They need to come to the answer for themselves. So understanding that, and that's really a challenge for a franchisor, because you think you know the answer. And come on, why don't you just do it, right? Well, we have to bring people on a journey, okay? And so appreciating where they're at, for example, is really powerful. So at the beginning, they've paid their franchise fee and they're looking at you and they're saying, tell me how to do it, right? And so understanding how to behave and how to do things when they're brand new, right? And how it's different when their experience, is because it's different communication style for wherever they're at. And so when you say, what are the important skills? Well, dealing with change and communication is everything in franchising.
So
It
true.
really is.
So true.
Yeah. And so this book talks about that. Okay. This book talks about that very well. And yeah, so that's why I love it so much.
Love it. Yeah, really, really interesting, that whole change management piece. It almost like takes business into, everything in business becomes about change management, doesn't it? Everyone's at different places, and then that's the challenge in franchising often, is that we have different franchisees who are, in different parts of the journey, and kind of bringing everyone on that journey together can sometimes be interesting. And you've got personal lives and all these other things that are going on as a complication, and it's quite interesting. So yeah, I mean, I love Greg's kind of psychology take on it as well, that pulling in that understanding of people into, I just love it. We could talk about this all day, Frederick.
So let me share a story about what I'm doing now, which, as you know, BNI is about people in business collaborating, right? And necessarily, I have to do this in my business. If I'm going to walk the talk of BNI, this is what we do. And we have a project at the moment going on with our systems, and the collaboration between my franchisees, between themselves and myself, right? The wow, okay? It is goosebump stuff. So what we're coming up with together, collaborating, working together, right, is just absolutely amazing. And this is one of the things that Greg talks about in the book. You know, franchising is about people in business collaborating. And when the franchisees and the franchisors collaborate on initiatives, right, that help, you know, it's amazing the success that is generated, and we're living that right now.
Oh, I
So
love it. Well, you have to
yeah,
come back and share the outcome with us.
well, you know, you know, you need to have good, solid systems and processes, you know, behind the business. And I was just speaking with one of my directors, and you know, she was having a challenge with launching a new group in this one area. Okay, and because of the system, she put together, you know, people that she had contacted about another area together with you know, 3 areas, and then she sent out, you know, a communication to everyone in those areas, and boom, she's got a dozen inquiries, you know. And I mean, that's beautiful, because what she's created has been inspired by her, but then it's been improved by others from right around the country. So for example, one of the things that somebody else had suggested was, you know, the ability to send texts, right? So our systems are including that now. And, you know, it's just all these different people from around the country doing the same thing, collaborating and creating a beautiful system to help them with their work, so for efficiency's sake.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Frederick, I know you're very focused on the profitability and success of the franchisees. I mean, you know, franchising is all about that win-win.
Yes.
What do you think are the skills and attributes that ensure a franchisee is extremely successful?
All right. So um, franchisees, you know, need to follow the system. Okay, so that's easy. So let's give that. Let's say they're following the system. Okay, and you know, perhaps they're doing it their own way, but you know, generally speaking, that is a formula for success. So assuming that, okay, assuming that they're doing that, what they need to do is they need to have a really powerful network of people. Okay, and this is why. This is why. Okay, people who are in business that have the benefit of just working with people they know, like, and trust. Now, how good is that? So how much more pleasant would that be? How much more profitable would that be if you're just dealing with people that you know, like, and trust? People with a strong network have that opportunity to more and more just deal with people they know, like, and trust. People without a network, they have to deal with everyone, okay? But people who have a network, a really strong network, they can pick and choose, because there's a lot of people that they know, like, and trust that are using them. And isn't it amazing when you can just, you know, you know this person, you know, will use you, right? They will send you their business. Why? Because you've looked after them for a while, you know, and you've done the right thing by them over and over again, right? So how much easier is your life when you're dealing with people you know, like, and trust? And so that leads to profitability. Okay, when you're dealing with a lot of difficult people, that's hard on people, that's hard on your staff, that's hard on you, that's hard on the bottom line. All right. But when you're dealing, and to deal for people to actually deal with people they know, like, and trust, they need a network for that. Okay, isn't it amazing when your network sends you a referral? They just call and they want the business. You know, they're giving you the business. There's no, you know, I call one of my suppliers and I say, hey, tell me, you know, what's the story there? You know, I need this. And then bang, it's delivered. And then he says, I can deliver by the 15th, no problem. And I trust him and I can just move on. How good is that? That's just what it's like to do business when you have a really strong network. So that's the sweet spot for me. That's a sweet spot in my business. And this is what we do in BNI. We create powerful networks for people. And we're really proud of that.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Like local area marketing and building that strong referral relationship, little network around you is so important, especially at the beginning of that franchisee journey. When you're trying to establish yourself and get a name through relationships, it really, really spreads very fast. And I've certainly seen people within BNI do that extremely, extremely successfully. And I think the teachings of how do you actually find others who can easily refer to you and you can easily refer to. And people often say, well, how do you start? Like, I don't have any contacts, how can I refer, how can I do anything? But it's really about having conversations. And I think one of the challenges when you start out in business is really like that, standing up and talking about your business. And to me, just having a system to teach people to do that is just unbelievable. So yeah, I think it also gives people a lot of confidence to talk about their business in that way. So yeah, I think that's a very interesting take on that question. Obviously there are a lot of skills that are needed for a franchisee to be successful. I think their network is a really critical part of it, because if you can't keep those leads coming in, life is very challenging.
In a local area, marketing program, the referral part is often missed. Okay. And this is why. Okay. When you do a marketing campaign, you send stuff out, you get results straight away. With networking, it takes time to build relationships, right? But once the relationships are there, wow, it just goes forever. I mean, we have BNI members, who say, they all of their business comes from BNI now because they can't handle anymore, right? They can't handle anymore because they've been doing it for a long time. And it's now, the people that they were referred to are now referring to them because they, it's just, they call it the tentacles, like just goes out.
Cool.
But it takes time. Cool. And a lot of people don't like networking, right? They don't like it. You know why? Because they think networking is selling. Okay. It drives me nuts. Networking is not about you. Networking is not about you at all. Networking is just about you helping others, right? Helping others and expecting nothing in return and watching what happens to you. Most people understood that networking wouldn't have such a, people think networking, oh, that's selling. Well, yeah, you go to a networking event and everybody's selling and nobody, nobody's buying, like that doesn't make sense. That's not what it's about. You go to a networking event, you just go in that room, meet a couple of people, find out how you can help them. And if you can, great. And if you can't, great, you move on. But at least you've met them. And it's just this constant thing that you have to, that you should do, to build relationships with people. And over time, wow, you get to know all these people and they love you and you love them. I mean, how good is that?
Love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Business love.
Frederick, really, really appreciate your time today. Really enjoyed the conversation. Can talk about this subject. I have a passion for it for many, many hours. Thank you. And really, really enjoyed your insights and look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Thank you so much, Jenny. It was a pleasure.